In this video, I'm gonna walk you through how to create your dream life in 3 simple steps. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Uriel came here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur, and we are at the Mexico house, also known as Casa Yuri. And today I'm gonna share with you a little bit about how this house came about. I'm right here on the Pacific Ocean, literally right beside me. And you know what? You might be in for a treat. If you look behind me, there's a whole family of whales that have joined us this morning at sunrise for this video. It's absolutely majestic. So if you catch some whales behind me, let me know in the comments below because I can't see everything as I'm shooting this for you. So I'm going to tell you the story about how this house came about. It's a really fascinating story. So stick with me right to the end of this video and I'll share with you how it all came about from an idea in my head. But more specifically, I want to share with you how you can create your dream life, whether that's building your dream home, traveling the world, or just helping more people, including yourself and your family. So the reason this is important is that if you're a health professional, that's who we serve, or a coach who has this gift to help a lot of people, a lot of times you can get stuck in the grinds, especially like a lot of the one-on-one work. You might feel that you're undercharging, you're overworked, you're spending 12 to 14 hours a day in the clinic or in the gym, and I get that. I actually was living that life for 7 years, way back in my early 20s. And I started off doing that for 7 years to eventually thinking, oh, I'm gonna come online and live the laptop lifestyle, like build my dream business. It didn't quite happen that way. So I spent my first 3 years online, starting in 2005, living on poverty line income. I lived in a tiny 800 square foot, 3rd floor apartment, and half the apartment was inventory of boxes of product that I decided to create, which is a dumb idea in the first place. That's how this all started. And if you're in a situation that maybe it's not as bad as that or further along the journey, either way, you probably have a desire for something bigger, for something more enjoyable. And I want to share at least what's worked for me as I get chased by some flies here over my past, 10 to 15 years in this journey. So to create the dream life you want, number one is we have to have clarity. Clarity is power. Clarity buys you speed. The clearer you are, the faster you go. So think about what is it that you actually really want in life and be very specifically clear about that. So if you say like, I want a better house. Okay, well, what specifically does the house look like? Create a vision board. I have other videos on this channel where I've actually walked through that process of how I've brought certain things into my life, being very specific in my envisioning of them. So if you have a vision board, if you've never created one, I strongly encourage you to do so. When I look back on the vision boards that I've created over the past 10 years, literally every single one of the photos on that vision board have come to reality.
So this picture right here, this is a house overlooking the Pacific Ocean. It's crazy now that I think about this because we have a vacation home on a cliff in Mexico overlooking the Pacific Ocean.
And what's funny is that I forget, like I look at, like I had a vision board that I had tucked under my bed that was from years ago and I pulled it out. I'm like, oh my God, like all of that stuff is my life now. And it's just crazy to see the power of clarity come to fruition. So when we're clear with something, we want to be very clear. Specificity is power. So if you want to go somewhere, if you want to travel somewhere, where specifically do you want to travel? Where do you want to stay in that city? What specific hotel or Airbnb do you want to be at? What are you doing with your time? What does the vibe feel like? Try to feel all that, visualize it in your mind. And if you can create a vision board, even if it's on your phone of images, that makes it that much more powerful. So step one is being very clear about what you want. A sub-step to this is understanding why. So Jim Rohn famously says, reasons come first. So you have the vision for what you want. Why do you want this thing? Why do you want this life? The more reasons you have, the more ammunition you're gonna have to keep going when the going gets tough. Let's be honest, building a great life is not easy. If it was, everyone would live an amazing life, but they don't. When the going gets tough, a lot of people curl up like a crab in a shell and they stay with what's comfortable, what's known, but no one's inspired by that. So really think about what are the reasons why I want to create this life. And so for me, for instance, why we wanted to build here is because number one, we've been to this area of Mexico at least a dozen times. And I have straight out that way, our next neighbor is Hawaii. So yeah, I mean, there's obviously neighboring properties and so forth, but we have this beautiful vista of sunrise all the way to sunset. And then if we go straight out west, it's Hawaii. So there's this sense of tranquility and calm And for me, at least, that's really important. I've got 4 boys. We have a busy life. I have a busy business. I have a lot of people I manage. I want a sense of tranquility. And if that means building a house on a cliff on the Pacific Ocean to get that, I will do that. So for me, that was one of the reasons behind all this. I wanted to wake up in the morning and see whales in our backyard. I mean, how cool is that? Just to take in the beauty of nature and how majestic it is, and to be reminded of how beautiful this planet is, and that everything we're doing to contribute to that is incredible. So those are some of the reasons. Second piece, after we have clarity, is certainty. If you know what you want and you don't have it yet, either you're not clear on it, or you believe that for some reason there's some doubt in the way that's preventing you from getting it or attracting it into your life. Now, I want to be very clear about this. You might know this about me, you may not. I'm very practical, very tactical, very data-driven. I'm also very spiritual, very woo-woo. And I talk a lot about energy and vibration and frequency, but I want to be clear about this. You can't just sit around and hopefully things will fall into your lap. You have to be clear about that stuff. You have to raise your vibration so you increase your certainty that it's already here, but you also have to do stuff, right? I work my butt off and I love what I do, but I don't just sit around and hope money's going to fall in the bank. And I've actually had conversations with people and that was their business plan. I'm getting a loan of $50,000. From who? From the universe. I'm like, okay, so that sounds great. I'm not talking about that ridiculous nonsense. I'm talking about being very clear about what you want, having the energy of knowing that's here. This is the key thing, is the certainty. If you're not where you want to be, it's because there's doubt standing in the way. Certainty is the opposite of doubt. So how do you build certainty? You continue to put yourself in situations that remind you of what it is you want. So walk down the streets of the area you want to live in, take that car for a test drive, eat at that restaurant, travel first class. Again, I'm not saying overextend yourself, but experience this stuff to the best of your ability, because then that'll be the standard you've set for your life. For instance, once you sit in the front of the plane, it's very hard to go to the back. And it's not because you're too cool. It's just, that's just the new reality for you. And so the more you put yourself in those situations, you raise that standard, that certainty that this is just who you are. And that's really important, because the certainty piece is probably if out of these 3 pillars, probably the biggest piece. When I was in my 20s, I had set a goal of becoming a millionaire by 30. That didn't happen, right? I was into my 30s by the time this happened. And the reason for that is because, number one, I didn't want it badly enough. Or 2, I actually didn't think it was possible. So there's a combination of things here, but that certainty is massive. And I call this delusional optimism. You have to know with 100% certainty, you have to believe it before you see it. You ask anyone on this planet who's done anything remarkable, iPhone, did it exist? No, it was an idea. It was an idea. Steve or the team, Jobs, believed it and they made it appear. Henry Ford, I think there's a saying, if I gave people what they wanted, they would have had, a faster horse or a horse and buggy, not a car. You have to think of what it is you want, and you have to believe it with every fiber in your being that it's possible for you. So putting yourself in those environments. And the second way to do that is through visualization. There's a lot of studies on the power of visualization. As a former pro athlete, I used it all the time. Olympic athletes visualize all the time. You can even see a diver on the platform before they're rehearsing, they're going through their motions, closing their eyes. F1 drivers, same thing. They literally sit and they're moving like they're not even in the car. They move their eyes, their hands in the way that they would in a race. Because the brain doesn't understand the difference between something you actually experience and something you vividly imagine. There were studies, or a specific study done with students who wanted to improve free throws in basketball. One group sat in a classroom and visualized shooting the free throws. The other group actually did the free throws in the gym. When they went to finally, test the subjects on who actually hit the most free throws after these 2 separate groups went through their training, if you will, the difference between the 2 was almost insignificant. So the people who actually never even threw the basketball and just sat in the classroom visualizing it almost had the same score as those who were actually throwing the basketball. So the more you visualize what it is you want, the more your nervous system interprets it as if it's already here. And that's the key, is it's not you don't want something, it's already here. You are the source of abundance, right? We're all from this one amazing ocean of consciousness. And if we are from the source, then we are the source. So you are abundance, you are not abundant. There's nothing for you to attract because you have everything already. The sooner you recognize that and the sooner you align your energy and vibration with that, the sooner the things that you want will show up in your reality. So the second piece is certainty. Third piece is consistency. No one gets in great shape working out once, right? It's the same thing in business. You don't grow a great business occasionally putting in the work. You show up consistently. Let's look at two different things. Consistency in the vision. So you're clear about what it is you want and you consistently reinforce that. You're looking at your vision board, you're meditating, you're visualizing, you're consistently putting yourself in environments that reinforce that dream you want to create. That's the consistency piece, not once in a blue moon. Consistency in terms of effort. You understand, okay, well, here's where I want. Do my actions align with my goals? If you want to be a millionaire and you're not willing to put in a couple hours of work a day, there's a very big incongruence with that goal. So your actions need to be aligned with what it is you want. Now, there is a time in your life where you do have to work hard. Let's be honest. I'm a big believer in working smart, but do not get me wrong. I work my ass off, and I've worked my ass off for a long time, but it doesn't feel like work. When you love what it is you do, and when you can work from places like this, I don't need to go on vacation. My life is a vacation. And I'm not saying I don't have sleepless. I have a lot of pressure and challenges in my life, which I gratefully take on. I get to have these. There are many moments where I wake up at 2 a.m. worrying about stuff. I have people challenges. I've got stuff that doesn't go right in the business or in my personal life. I'm not saying, it's not that it's perfect, but the fact that it's not perfect is why it's perfect. That's right. We get to encounter these challenges. We get to grow through them. So don't shy away from the work. Do what you got to do to build the foundation. And when we're working with our clients, we're helping them build a foundation of systems and assets and skills that they will have for the rest of their life to set them up for a life like this if they wanted. Is that going to happen in 12 months? No. Is it going to happen in 12 years? It could. It very well could. I mean, I've seen clients go from nothing to millions in a year and a half. I'm not saying it's going to happen for you. I have no idea who you are and how you show up, etc. And also people take longer. I mean, I was one of those guys that took a little bit longer. It took me 7 years to crack my first $1 million in my first business because I tried doing everything by myself. I didn't have clarity, I didn't have certainty, and I wasn't consistent. When I started Healthpreneur, we went from 0 to $1 million in 7 weeks. And it's only grown to multiple eight figures since then. Now, I share this with you because I've figured a few things out, both on the tactical business side and on how we show up energetically in our lives. I wrote a number 2 New York Times bestselling book called The All-Day Energy Diet. And in that book, I said everything is energy and energy is everything. So with respect to nutrition, how you eat, all that kind of stuff is fine. But energetically, if you feel guilt and shame about the foods you're eating, your body is not going to assimilate those nutrients properly. So it's the same in business. You can work your ass off, but energetically, if you're always living in anxiety and doubts, it's like running east looking for a sunset. It's not going to happen. So clarity, certainty, consistency. These are the 3 C's to building the dream life that you want. Now, let me kind of come full circle to this story about how this house came about. We're just, past sunrise. That's why the sun's beaming in here. So my wife and I had traveled to this area of Mexico, and don't ask me where it is. I'm keeping it top secret because not a lot of people know about it, and I love that. We've been here about 12 times, and we actually saw a video on YouTube from a YouTuber called Enes Yilmazer, shout out to Enes, who does high-end house tours around the world. And we saw this home that he had toured, and then it said the name of this town where we are. And I'm like, hold on, they're building that kind of house here? Because I had never seen that type of house in this location. It's very quaint, quiet. It's not like, Cancun type of vibe, not at all. Right away, we contacted the developers, and we got that process started. Now, this is during COVID. So let me backtrack. My wife and I had always had this vision of being on the water, by the water, and it was on our vision boards. We had a good sense of the feel that we wanted. And when this came about, it was like, oh my God, everything's just lining up. So we contacted the developers we see this YouTube video, we start the conversation, and during COVID, we buy the lot sight unseen. So we did not come down to Mexico. We bought it over Zoom. We saw the plans and we bought it. Energetically, we're like, this is the lot. I think this location, the way it's oriented, this is awesome. Let's go. Boom. Here's the money. But Yuri, watch out. It's Mexico. It's dangerous. No. You don't understand. I'm talking, not you, to people that said that stuff to me. You're living in fear based on stuff you see on the news or having watched Narcos. If you've been here, it's a very different situation. Building here has been easier than if we built a home right beside our existing home outside of Toronto, back home in Canada. It has been such a seamless process because we were clear about what we wanted. We aligned ourselves with the best possible people. So the architect who built this house is one of the top architects in Mexico. And this is another big lesson, is you always get what you pay for in life. And if you're looking for the cheapest route, you will run into major problems. The biggest thing I can share with you is don't look for cheap options, because you will get exactly that. We wanted an architect who is phenomenal. They designed this house. We didn't even know what it could look like. And we saw the 3D renderings from the sketch. We're like, oh my God, I mean, I couldn't even imagine that. Let's go, let's do it. So when you have amazing people, the process for us has been seamless. Like we've come down here twice a year over the past 2.5 years just to check in. There's been very minimal back and forth. It's been amazing. And again, kudos to the amazing people that we've been working with here, because when you have great people, whether it's in your personal life or your business life, it makes your life so much easier. So be willing to pay a little bit more, because that little bit extra makes all the difference. You always get what you pay for in life. So it's about a 2.5 year process from the time we purchased the lot to us literally moving in a couple weeks now as of this video. We're spending 4 months here in the winter. Why would we go back to the snow and -15? That's crazy. I'd rather be here outdoors in short sleeve, swimming, having my kids being able to play outside, eat healthier foods. This is just a way better quality of life. And the nice thing about all this is I'm still working like I would back home. I'm still shooting these videos for you guys. I'm still connecting with my team, still coaching my clients, and all from my office at this house, from my laptop. And so that's how this all came about. And it's been an incredible journey. Has it been easy? No. Has it been worth it? 100%. And I just encourage you, hopefully this video inspires you to just to think bigger, stop playing small. There's so many people out there that are living like fear-driven lives and just playing like these little tiny, like a cocoon of what they're possible for them, for you. And I'm going to be sharing more videos from the house here over the next couple months. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. If this video has found you well and it's inspired you in some way, shape, or form, let me know what you've enjoyed most in the comments below. As a reminder, if you did see any whales behind me, I'd love to know when that happened so I could review this video as well, because it really is special. It's a very, very special feeling to create the life you want. And whatever that is for you, however I can support you, that's partly why this channel exists, to help you build a very successful coaching business, helping people improve their health, and you can create a beautiful quality of life in the service of other people, not at their expense. You're not taking advantage of anyone. You're helping them. You're simply exchanging money for the value you provide to the people you serve. And there's nothing wrong with building a beautiful quality of life in the process. And anyone who tells you otherwise, run far, far away from. And if you have a problem with other people building wealth, you're never going to achieve wealth yourself. You're not going to become someone you despise. You got to check yourself. You got to work on yourself. And if you say stuff like, well, it's not all about the money, I'm not saying it is. It's not about big houses. I understand that. I'll just finish with this. I was at a soccer store buying some shoes for my son a couple months ago. And I was driving my McLaren and I parked it out front because I just happened to be there. And there was a lady in front of me with her 2 sons. And they were the only other people in the parking lot. So there was their car and my red McLaren. And they didn't know it was me. So I'm like literally standing right behind them. And the kid's like, oh my God, that's a 720. And the mom's like, well, it's not all about the fancy stuff. Health is most important. And I thought to myself, what are you talking about? Like, it's health or cars? This is how people fuck themselves in life, is they have ridiculous beliefs like this. Because what if it's possible to have that car and be in great health and have an amazing family life and be fit and have an amazing business? So you have to be very mindful of who you surround yourself with, because beliefs like that are completely going to paralyze her kids from living a great quality of life. They're going to grow up and they might aspire to want certain things. And that mom is going to be like, no. Like, hey, just check yourself. You don't need all that fancy stuff. Just stay small. Crabs in a bucket, okay? I'm not here to be a crab in the bucket. I'm here to help you rise. I'm here to challenge you. I'm here to help you build an amazing quality of life, and I'm gonna challenge what you think is possible for you. If you're ever speaking with me on Instagram in the DMs, I'm not gonna settle for your bullshit, for your excuses, for small thinking. I will challenge you. If you're a client of mine, I will hold you to a higher standard because you deserve it, and you may not even know that. And that's why all of us need coaches. That's why we always have to be around other people who believe in us more than we believe in ourselves and who hold a higher standard for us than we might for ourselves as well. So with that said, thank you for joining me today. Stay tuned, subscribe. I've got tons of other videos coming from Casa Judy in the coming weeks and coming months. Thanks for hanging out. See you soon. So where a lot of people go wrong is they focus on tactics. They're focused on like, how do I get more people coming into my world? How do I get more visibility? And that's all fine, okay? But here's the thing I want you to recognize. This is a writer downer. Conversions come first. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through a 9-step checklist to get more clients.